Hello dear users, welcome to this session. I am going to cover indemnity and guarantee in this session. My name is Dr. Lata Rani and I am Associate Professor and Program Anchor of Delhi Skill and Entrepreneurship University. So this is one of the special contract. So by this time you must have understood what is contract, what are the general contracts, what are the clauses of the contract, and what are the different elements that are required to perform a valid contract. But when we speak this word indemnity and guarantee, these are those special contracts which are existing in the eyes of law under section 124 to 147. So we are going to deal these two contracts in a separate manner. First section would be dealing with the indemnity. I would be discussing what indemnity contract is, how such contracts can be created, what are the different parties to these contracts, what are the different regulations, clauses of such contract, and my another part of this session would talk about contract of guarantee. In the similar manner, I would be finishing up my session with the difference of indemnity and guarantee. So keep learning and just starting the session. Indemnity contract. Like I mentioned, Indian Contract Act takes out these special contracts, that is contract of indemnity and contract of guarantee under the section 124 to 147 of Indian Contract Act 1872. So this is the overview. You should know what are the sections that deals with these special contracts. Let us understand what is contract of indemnity. This is defined under section 124, whereby law says this is a contract by which one party promises to save the other from loss caused to him by the conduct of the promisor himself or by the conduct of any other person. Then this kind of contract is contract of indemnity. That means when any person offers the services that I would be protecting you from the loss, whatever would happen at any point of time during the contract, then I is called indemnifier. So basically this is a special contract where one party is protecting you from the loss. If any point of time you feel that I may be suffering the loss from this party, then you can give this as a contract to the indemnity nature. So when there are parties called indemnifier and indemnified, so the party who promises to save the other party from the loss is known as indemnifier, and the other party whose loss is saved against the loss, then that party is known as indemnified or indemnity holder. So I would be explaining this with the help of example. For example, A may contract to indemnify B against the consequence of any proceedings which C may take against B in respect of a sum of rupees 5,000 advanced by C to B. In that consequence, when B, who is called upon to pay the sum of money to C, if he fails to do so, C would be able to cover the amount from A, as A is a indemnifier. So the one who is giving the promise, yes, I would protect you from this loss, and if loss happens, I would be saving you from that loss, then I am called indemnifier. So we can say indemnifier is a promiser and whose loss is protected, whose loss is saved that party is known as indemnified or indemnity holder. Or I could take this example from the angle of a company. For example, there is one shareholder who is Mr. X. So X, a shareholder of a company, has lost his share certificate. Then he applied for the duplicate. Company agreed to issue the same on the term that X will compensate the loss wherein any holder produces the original certificate. Then this is a contract of indemnity between X and the company. So here X is giving it a promise that if anything happens with this original certificate, I will compensate the company. So X is a indemnifier, promiser, and company is a indemnified, indemnity holder or promisee. Look at this picture. When we talk of objective of contract of indemnity, it means one contract which is giving you protection to save you from unanticipated losses, cost, right? Look at this picture whereby the company, that is fire insurance company, has given a guarantee, right? Given a promise that do not worry, if anything happens to your company from the fire, I would be bearing the loss. So look at this, the one who is promising is insurance agent. Look at this picture. Insurance agent is performing the role of indemnifier, promiser, and the client whose loss is saved, then that client is indemnified, indemnity holder or promisee. Now, you should know clearly what are the different parties to the contract of indemnity. One party who is promising you to save you from the loss, from the unanticipated situations, from unforeseen situation. So first party is called indemnifier or promiser. So who is promiser? A person who is promising the client to protect him from the losses of emergency nature, unanticipated nature, unforeseen nature. So the one who is promising to protect another person from the loss, that person is called indemnifier. Second party is known as indemnified or indemnity holder. So he is the person whose loss is covered or who is compensated by this. So when we say insurance company is an indemnifier. Insurance company is a promiser because that is promising to bear the loss of a client. And client is a promisee, indemnified or indemnity holder, as his loss is protected. So whenever you are taking any kind of insurance, you are paying the premium, you are paying the cost, then you are actually trying to escape from the loss. So this is a special type of contract. These contracts are not normal contract. These are special because one person is taking the charge of your object to protect you from the losses. So escaping your loss liability is taken care by indemnified. So indemnified is whose loss is saved. Indemnifier is who is promising to save you from the loss. So there are two parties and one contract. What are the essential features of contract of indemnity? Now these 5 points. Number one, there are two parties. One is indemnifier, another is indemnified. So like I mentioned, indemnifier is a promiser who is promising to bear your loss against the object. And indemnified is the one whose loss is protected, saved against any object. Second, protection of loss. This is a contract which is entered for the purpose of protecting the promisee from the loss. So loss may be caused due to the conduct of the promisor or any other person. So it does not mean if promisor is at fault, only then he will bear the compensation and amount. The loss may happen, and if that happens, then in that case promisor has to make that loss as good. Third, it may be expressed or implied. The contract of indemnity may be expressed through the written words, through the spoken words, or it may be by the custom, right? So implied, that is inferred from the conduct of the parties, circumstances, customary usage of the particular case. So when it is implied or expressed, loss protection is the main feature and clause of contract of indemnity. Fourth, yes, it should have essentials of valid contract. So we cannot ignore those section 1 to 75 of Indian Contract Act 1872. They are very much applicable to these contracts. That means when we talk of essential, we must know legal object, capability of contract, he must not be a minor, he must not be of unsound mind, consent should not be induced by coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation, mistake. So all those essential elements must be present in this contract. And last, number of contracts. Only one contract, that is between indemnifier and indemnified. Or I may say in a simple language, one contract between promisor and promisee. So promisor is a person who is giving a promise to protect the promisee from any unanticipated loss. So this is a contract of indemnity. You should know what is the right of a promisee under this. So promisee, as per this contract of indemnity, can ask for these three things from the promisor, because promisor has given a promise कि whatever damages would happen, whatever cost would incur, whatever loss would happen, that person will make it good. So rights of promisee can be categorically divided into three parts. One, right of recovering damages. Second, right of recovering cost. And third, right of recovering sums. First is right of recovering damages. All kind of damages that he is compelled to pay in a suit in respect of any matter to this contract is applicable under the contract of indemnity. So if promisee is paying some damages, indemnifier, that is promisor, has to make that good. So in case he is paying damages for pertinence to this contract, indemnifier has to bear that damage. Second, right of recovering cost. Any kind of cost that promisee is compelled to pay in bringing, defending, or in contravention of the orders of the promisor, or has acted as it would have been prudent for him to act in the absence of contract of indemnity, the promisor authorized him to pay that suit, incur those costs. All those costs have to be borne by promisor later on. So if promisee is using his wisdom, he is making the payment to attorney, paper or decree charges, whatever charges cost he is incurring, he has to make that good as well. Third right is right of recovering sums. All kind of sums which promisee has paid under the terms of compromise. In case of any suit, if this compromise was not contrary to the order of the promisor, then promisor has to make that good. So he has to bear all these charges, that is damages, cost and sums. When we would be identifying the commencement of liability of a promisor, when he would be eligible to pay those losses. See, indemnifier is not liable until promisee has not suffered any loss. So for example, I have taken a insurance of car, right? So car insurance for 5 years. For example, I am paying the premium to the company, but once 5 years is over and nothing has happened to my car, then insurance company will not make any kind of loss into good. But yes, if anything happens to my car within those 5 years, then insurance company, that is promisor, that is indemnifier, will make that loss as good. So you can take the example of AMC. These days companies are taking the contract of annual maintenance contract, whereby if anything happens to the maintenance part, say company has taken up this contract whereby charges are paid well in advance for that AMC. So for that 1 year, if anything happens from the angle of maintenance like electricity issue, plumber issue, gardening issue, lift issue, all those losses will be made good by those company. But for that year, so AMC, annual, indemnifier is not liable if indemnified has not suffered any loss. So till the time any loss is not there, there is no liability of promisor. Second, you should understand indemnified can compel the indemnifier to make good his loss although he has not discharged his liability. So till the time contract is there, then by that time if anything happens in terms of loss, in terms of cost, in terms of damage, in terms of sums, then promisor has to make that good. So here I would like to quote one of the most leading important case, Ganjan Mahareshwar versus Moreshwar Madan. This was the case of 1942, where an observation was made by the judge that if the indemnified has incurred any liability and the liability is absolute, so he is entitled to call upon indemnifier to save him from the liability and pay it off. So any kind of liability regarding that object which is part of the contract of indemnity, then promisor can be called to pay off that liability. Now I would like to conclude the topic contract of indemnity. It is a special contract, number 1, in which one party to a contract, that is promisor, indemnifier, promise to save the other, that is promisee or indemnified, from any loss caused to him by the conduct of promisor himself or by the conduct of any other person. So these are the special contracts. And what are the different sections that are applicable? Section 124 and Section 125 of Indian Contract Act 1872. I would move to the second part of this session, that is contract of guarantee. Before starting this contract, I would like to define through the example. Look at this picture. You are understanding there is Mr. A, there is Mr. B, there is Mr. C. A is principal debtor, B is known as surety, C name is creditor. And he is a dealer also. So dealer is going to sell the car. So what surety is saying? Oh, dealer, please give a car to my friend. If he will not make the payment, I will pay. So surety has started the contract. So he is promising to discharge A's liability in case of default. So I am referring a contract of guarantee through this example. Let us understand. Contract of guarantee is defined under Section 126. This is again a special contract to perform the promisee or discharge the liability of a third person in case of his default. So guarantee may be either oral if it is just a spoken contract or written if it is an in written contract. So what are the different parties to the contract of guarantee? 3 parties. 1. Surety. 2nd. Principal debtor. 3rd. Creditor. First person is very, very important. He is the one who is giving the guarantee. So he is known as surety, guarantor. So he is taking up the responsibility of the debtor on his own shoulders. So principal debtor is a person in respect of whose default the guarantee is given. So eventually debtor was responsible to make the payment, but that responsibility has been taken over by surety. So if default is there, from the debtor's point of view, surety will make the payment. To whom? Third party is called creditor. So whom guarantee has been given is known as creditor. So look at this example once again. Here debtor is Mr. A and he wants to have that car from the creditor. Creditor is thinking to give it to A. Eventually in midway between A and creditor there is one person, that is surety. Surety is saying, please give a car to my friend. If he will not make the payment, I will make the payment. So the role of surety is very, very important to have a contract between debtor and creditor. So if surety would not be there, there is only a contract between debtor and creditor. But now there are different contracts. One contract between debtor and creditor. Second contract between debtor and surety. Third contract between surety and creditor. So this is a contract of guarantee which is defined under section 126. Look at this example. X and Y go into a car showroom where X says to the dealer to supply latest model of WagonR to Y. And in case Y is failure to make the payment, X will be paying for it. So this is a contract of guarantee where X is promising to discharge the liability of Y in case of his default. Look at how these could be understood from the party angle. X is a debtor who needs WagonR car. Y is a surety, right? Who is saying if X will not make payment, then he will make the payment. And car company is a creditor who is supplying the latest model of WagonR to X. Similarly, from another example you could understand, Mr. X is advancing a loan of rupees 25,000 to Mr. Y. And Mr. Z is promising that in case Mr. Y fails to repay the loan, he will make the payment. So again this is a case of guarantee. So here you should again understand X is a creditor because he is giving a loan. Y is taking the loan, he is a debtor, principal debtor, and Z is a giving a guarantee, he is a guarantor. So Mr. Z is a surety. What are the essentials of a valid contract? Now, please understand all these special contracts must fulfill these criteria. Number 1, essential of a valid contract. That means section 1-75 of Indian Contract Act is applicable to this act also. So contract must be between 2 or more than 2 parties. They must be capable to enter into a contract. They must not be minor, must not be of unsound mind. It must be duly backed by the consideration. All those essential features are very much applicable to the contract of guarantee. Second, consideration must be there. So surety is giving a guarantee. So he is playing a role of guarantor. So there must be some consideration available for him. Third, they must be competent enough. So it should not be that he is of unsound mind, he is of minor age, he is not major, he is debarred from entering into a contract. This should not be the scenario. Next, existence of a recoverable debt. Yes, so surety or guarantor is giving a guarantee which is existable. It cannot be for the future that in case he will take the car from the company, I will make the payment after 5 years. This should not be the scenario. Debt should be recoverable. It should not be impossible to recover the debt. Next, there should not be any induced technique, no misrepresentation or concealment of facts. You should not hide the material or prima facie evidences. It is a duty of the debtor and creditor to make a clear facts and figures to the surety. Next, conditional liability of surety. Yes, it is very, very right. Surety is not responsible at a prima facie. The primary liability is of debtor only. In case debtor defaults, debtor does not make the payment, then the liability of surety starts, exists or matures. Next, concurrence of all three parties. Yes, there are three parties whereby one is principal debtor, second is creditor, third is surety. So there is a concurrence. Three types of contracts are existing between them. One, between debtor and surety. Second, between debtor and creditor. Third, between surety and creditor. Last essential is mode of creation of contract. These contracts may be created either through the spoken words if it is an oral contract or through the writing if it is a written contract. We must know what are the different kinds of guarantee. These 9 are different types of guarantee. One, absolute guarantee. That means surety is giving a guarantee without any stipulation, without any condition, without any attachment. Absolute is, I will make the payment if debtor defaults so. So there is no stipulation attached. Second is conditional guarantee. Yes, that is dependent upon contingency. That means in case anything happens, then he will make the payment. So his stipulations are dependent upon certain situation. So these kinds of guarantee are enforceable when contingency along with the default happens. Third kind of guarantee is retrospective guarantee. Retrospective guarantee is the guarantee which is given for the existing debt, which is at present. Fourth kind of guarantee is prospective guarantee. This kind of guarantee is given for the future debt. Fifth is limited guarantee. So where guarantee has been given only for single transaction, right? So that is limited. Sixth is unlimited guarantee, which is given to the series of transaction as to time, as to amount, it is unlimited. General guarantee, which is given to masses at large, to public at large, where public can have participatory mode. Special guarantee, which is given to specific clause. So for example, I am actually a guarantor and I am giving a guarantee to protect the loss of those people who are associated with the government organization. So I have put a bar that only government employees can approach me and I can be guarantor for them. So this is special guarantee. And last is continuing guarantee, which is extended to series of a transaction. So one transaction, second transaction, third transaction. So when there are many transactions of particular contract, then all those transactions are part of a guarantee contract, then this guarantee is known as continuing guarantee. Next, we are going to start difference between contract of indemnity and guarantee. This is the important topic. When I say indemnity, there are two parties whereby promisor is going to compensate the loss to promisee if that occurs. Guarantee is where three parties are involved and surety will take the responsibility of a debtor in case of his default. And indemnity is covered under section 124, guarantee is covered under section 126. Third difference is parties. There are two parties under contract of indemnity. One is indemnifier, second is indemnified. Guarantee, there are three parties: creditor, debtor and surety. Number of contracts. Under indemnity, there is only one contract between indemnifier and indemnified. But in the case of guarantee, there are three contracts. Between debtor and creditor, 1. Between debtor and surety, 2. Between surety and creditor, 3. Now, degree of liability. Under the contract of indemnity, the promisor liability is primary. He has to make the loss good. Whereas in the case of guarantee, the liability of a surety is secondary. Purpose. The contract of indemnity is to compensate for the loss, whereas the purpose of contract of guarantee is to give assurance to the promisee. Next difference is maturity of liability. So, contract of indemnity will work when there is a loss, and in the case of guarantee, liability is already existing, right? Thank you so much. With this, I conclude the contract of indemnity and guarantee that these are the special contracts covered under section 124 and 126 of Indian Contract Act 1872, and one must know these special contracts are helping the main party to protect from the loss or protect from the liability. Thank you so much. Keep learning.